Whenever I wanted to set a goal for myself to accomplish, I would usually write down on a piece of paper and in this Notion database my goals for that specific month. And with the intention that at the end of each month, I could check off all those boxes with the satisfaction of completing everything I set for myself. However, at the end of every month, I never actually completed my goals. They just ended up giving me this false belief that I was working towards something. And I'm sure you can relate to this also. Everyone says that in order to become successful, you have to write down your goals and give it a due date. And yes, this is something that is very effective. But for people like me and you, it doesn't do anything but make us believe that we're actually doing work. It just makes us believe that by writing down something we want to achieve, it will automatically give us what we want, which is completely fake and, to be frankly honest, is just wasting our valuable time and energy. And what majority of people don't take into account when setting goals is that they only think about the final destination, not the actual journey. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down actionable steps from Andrew Huberman and Emily Balcetis' podcast episode about setting and achieving goals using tools with literal scientific evidence. And don't worry, I'm not going to be a nerd and cite all the studies. That's what the actual podcast is for. I am just here to synthesize my experience with goal setting with the most powerful tools that these two intelligent scientists discuss in a way that is easy to comprehend so you can practically use their advice to improve your own life. The first thing and the most important thing you have to understand when setting a goal you want to accomplish is that you have to visualize your goal. And I know this sounds stupid and wishy-washy, but I guarantee you that this is the most important factor when it comes to accomplishing all of your goals. The reason things like writing down your goals, vision boards, self-talk, setting a bunch of reminders all the time, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, the reason these things don't work is because they require you to have this hardcore commitment. It requires you to use too much of your time and energy, which eventually leads to burnout and making you not want to do whatever you originally planned yourself to do in order to achieve your goal. That's why you have to leverage something that doesn't require this hardcore commitment. And that thing is your vision. It takes zero effort to look at something, and then it takes even less effort to think of something. When you visualize your goals, it's not just picturing yourself with a bunch of money. It's visualizing the distance in which you have to cover in order to make progress. Now, the way Huberman and Balcetis explains this concept mainly applies to running, but I'll explain how you can use it in any endeavor. The reason elite level sprinters are able to perform at such a high level is because instead of channeling their attention to outside elements like their peripheral vision, how close the person behind them is, how the temperature is making them feel, the people in the crowd, they are not thinking about that stuff at all. Instead, they channel 100% of their attention into what Balcetis describes as imagining your goal as a small circle that you divert all of your energy and focus into completing. And for sprinters, that small circle is the finish line. So to actually execute this tactic, you want to narrow your focus so you're only focused on the goal itself, not any outside elements and distractions. This way you can put 100% of your focus and energy into achieving your goal. You have to think of your focus like a spotlight that is shining all of its light to a single location. And there's an analogy that I like with a magnifying glass and an ant. Supposedly, if you hold a magnifying glass, now I've never actually done this, but if you hold a magnifying glass and focus the sun rays onto an ant, the ant will start to burn. So when you organize any goal or task or project or any endeavor in your life, keep that analogy in mind. And even though this tool mostly sounds like something you can only use in sprinting, because you have to imagine the finish line as something you are shining your spotlight on, you can use this for more cognitive tasks as well. So you want to think of short-term goals like winning a sprinting race, a deep work session, completing a task, reading a chapter of your book, finishing a piece of homework, just anything that can be done in one session as the sprinting method, where you are essentially visualizing that small circle. And think of long-term goals like winning a long-distance race, mastering a skill, finishing a book, reaching a certain financial goal, anything that takes time to do as the jogging method. And what does that mean? Well, the sprinting method is focused on focusing your attention to completing something that can be done relatively quickly. The jogging method is still focused on narrowing your span of attention to highlight whatever you're doing, but you're also breaking down a big goal into smaller goals. A way that Emily Balcetis described to help people that aren't sprinters to do more long distance running is as they're running to narrow their focus and imagine that small circle on something in front of them, like a stop sign a couple blocks down, a parked car, or a garbage can. And once they pass that object, they create a new focal point of a new object that is a good distance away from them. Basically, what the idea is that instead of setting a 10-year goal, set a new goal every 2 weeks that gets you closer to that bigger goal. So, for example, you might want to bench 150 pounds. So, this week you start with 135, and then 1 or 2 weeks you increase it to 140, and then 145, and then finally until you could bench 150 for reps. Or for an example that's even more broad, you might want to reach a certain financial goal, like 10K a month. You'll start off with only making a couple hundred, then 1,000, and then 3,000, and then 5,000, and then you will scale it up to 7,000 until a couple months or years you'll be making 10,000s. So yes, you want to think big and abstractly, but then you want to break it down to something more concrete and manageable. And the most fascinating part about this is that there is actual psychological reasoning behind why this works. The closer you are to finishing a goal or task or whatever, the harder you'll work to complete it. So you have to create this illusion of proximity to make this goal seem more attainable and give you like this almost aggressive desire to get that thing done. Tracking your progress can also be a great way that is also often overlooked because of how basic it sounds, but it can make cognitive tasks like reading and studying and physical tasks like working out easier and more fun because you're giving yourself feedback each time you see how much you've improved or what you need to work on, and because you are visualizing yourself getting closer to your goals. However, you do want to be careful because too much positive feedback will overflow you with dopamine and make you not want to actually do the hard work and avoid the risk of failure and criticism. The same problem with things like vision boards and self-talk motivation. Like you set and define a goal that's good, but you're not actually doing the work and you're not failing, which is a crucial step in becoming successful in any endeavor in life. And the last thing Andrew Huberman and Emily Balcetis discuss in this amazing podcast episode is that the amount of energy you have also contributes to your ability to overcome challenges and accomplish your goals. When you have more energy, the world looks easier. So the more energy you have, the easier something like a goal or task looks to do. That's why unfit people see the world as more challenging, while fit people, someone like David Goggins or a professional athlete, see every day as something new to accomplish. You can increase your energy either cognitively by using some of the tools we mentioned earlier or by ingesting real glucose and caffeine. These can make you feel more energized and view the world by something that's not hard and challenging, but as something exciting, fulfilling, and manageable. And that is Tools for Setting and Achieving Goals by Andrew Huberman and Emily Balcetis, distilled down to its key ideas and actionable steps that you can apply to your own life. I hope you found this video helpful and valuable, and thank you for watching.